San Diego trying to rebound after a very disappointing loss against Colorado on the road Friday night. We'll have Trevor Baptiste facing things off as he figures to win most, if not all of them tonight. Max Adler not in the rotation with Vancouver as they're going by committee. San Diego has the first possession. Scratches this afternoon. Chris Kavanaugh, Corey Small for San Diego. They've also made a couple of roster moves. Matt Wright and Zach Deacon to the IR as Marquez White and Pat Kavanaugh back in. And San Diego really a collapse down the stretch that has to be a gut punch coming in. How do you look at that disparity as a penalty away from the ball will send Vancouver to the first power play, not even a minute in? How do you try and combat that? What are you even thinking about knowing just how instrumental he is?
You can't see my face, but I just shook my head at that stat. That is an absurd stat.
As Connor Robinson nets the first shorthanded goal of the year for the Seals. Jesse King coming off a 2-goal game, but was very quiet the first time the Warriors saw the Seals. Kavanaugh burns the top of the cage.
After reviewing the play, the non-shooter is in the crease and never reestablishes outside part of the ball crossing the goal line. We have no goal.
Missed above the crossbar. San Diego with the power play for the first time. 2 for 4 on Friday in Colorado. Robinson dings the pipe. Back to the offensive end. 36 seconds on the power play for the Seals. Leclerc, a rocket misses wide. Watson saved Del Bianco. Loose ball handled by Jeff Cornwall, and Vancouver can eat up the rest of this penalty.
Now, we talked about Vancouver and how good they are kind of in these special teams and both power plays. They're actually coming into this weekend, they're actually first in short-handed goals. So you got to be careful of Curtis Dixon where he is on the floor at all times. But also, Shane Simpson, you got to watch out. He's going to be leaking out when he's on that power play because Christian Del Bianco loves throwing that deep ball to him.
Off the arm of Origlieri on the shot by Ball, and dispossessed 3-on-1 for the Seals. Subak comes out of the box to rejoin and cuts off the play. Another penalty, Origlieri to the bench as Kavanaugh, lefty, switches his hands and Del Bianco drops down to the butterfly. Ryan Martell into the line. Whistles at Ryan Sheridan. 7 goals in his last 3. Now Leclerc with 3 seconds. Down low, Del Bianco, and this is where he's dangerous as a passer. You see Shane Simpson looking for the Hail Mary.
That's a silly number.
That's crazy. Kavanaugh wheeling around. Patrick Merrill looking on. He was hoping his team would be ready to play today, knowing how disappointing Friday was. Shot clock running down on Kavanaugh. Final 2 seconds is off his back foot. It nearly finds the back of the net as Del Bianco with backspin on it.
Also welcoming his family. He has so much family in the stands today and also working here at Pechanga Arena. His cousins and aunt work here. I spoke to them before the game and everyone could not be more proud of White's debut.
Baptiste out of the box, power play over.
For the San Diego Seals, too many times these last couple possessions on a power play, it's just been ball movement. All they've been doing is just kind of working the ball and trying to get a shot.
Trying to find Watson in the middle, can't connect. Out of the box comes Sheridan, and another save for Del Bianco. Shot clock resets, Robinson retrieves. Seals will reset things 5-on-5 now. Vancouver defender playing without a stick. And Subak, see if they target him. Now Watson comes out on him, and he hits a pipe.
Now San Diego, you're going to be disappointed yourself that you couldn't capitalize on these power plays because Vancouver's giving you an opportunity. And when you're playing against such a good team like San Diego, you got to take what they're giving you. And if they're going to give you extra opportunities, you got to score on them.
And this has turned into a marathon possession. After the bad pass by Leclerc, Watson gets popped between the shoulder blades. So Seals awarded possession, a loose ball push, and a fresh shot clock as we near the final minute of the opening quarter. One that's been characterized by a lot of special teams. Now Leclerc robbed by Del Bianco. He's been rock solid, even with the 2 shorthanded goals for the Seals. He's made some tough stops. Leclerc to Kavanaugh with space, hesitates, behind the back off the pipe.
You know, he's rated one of the best goalies in the league and why he's been such an MVP candidate.
With the net empty in the final seconds, the heave is wide.
Down a play. I think that just describes it right there. Not a really pleasantly viewing game as it comes to kind of connecting, and Courier's going to get called for a legal pick, which I'm sure he doesn't agree with.
Charbonneau with numbers. Charbonneau! First for Vancouver.
San Diego and Vancouver, you're seeing the way that the officials are calling the game. They're really starting to like rein it in right here and starting to call a lot. Now, if you're both sides, offensively, defensively, you got to play to the officials. You might not think
Consistent in what their calls are. Then it's up to the players and the coaches to adjust. And so far they haven't. Dixon comes back up high, and Origlieri has to make a save on it.
we'll see if that's what Coach Malowski wants him to do, or if he'll just tell him to scrunch straight off to the bench.
LeClaire on the putback, can't get it past Del Bianco, and Ball is going to come play defense. Given up 2 shorthanded goals and gone 0 for 3. Dixon turned away by Origlieri, and Barkley.
Now on that too, Zach Courier plays both for San Diego. Now he's just logging a lot of minutes and already having a game on Friday. We'll see what kind of condition he is in the second half.
Penalty's over. Vancouver joins San Diego as being 0 for 4 on the extra man in the first half. Del Bianco has been rock solid between the pipes. He's made some tough stops, most recently the kick save. He's got a whole bunch, closing in on 20 first half saves. Kavanaugh under 10 seconds to shoot, finds Berg open. Berg! Right now, though, they go to the power play where they're 0 for 4. Now Keegan Ball finally puts one in on the 9th power play of the game, characterized by a ton of time on special teams. Courier hums one on cage. Del Bianco is 18th stop. Berg with a reset of the shot clock. Scored his 8th in the last 4 games. Now defers to Robinson. He opened the game with a shorthanded goal for the Seals. 2 of their 3 markers on the short unit, something they hadn't done at all in the first 11 games of the season. Kavanaugh has a goal and an assist, hums it to Berg, throws it between his legs, and Del Bianco read it all the way.
Even to get that shot off, it takes some incredible skill to be able to catch that ball, stick it to the inside, and somehow throw it between his legs.
As good as Del Bianco has been, Origlieri's matched him most of the afternoon. 12 saves compared to the 18 for Del Bianco. Dixon feeds King, and that's the best stop of the day for Origlieri.
That's a phenomenal save as he's dragging over to his left with the momentum of the ball. Has to slide back to make that save. Not all saves are created equal, and to stop that momentum, and now Marquez White.
Marquez White! Marquez White! For the folks back in Poway, #1 for the local boy.
As soon as he scored that goal, almost the entire team came off the bench and went and gave him a big high five. That's a culture setter. If you have someone right there that's so is respected and loved, that's a guy that's only going to be doing great things for your team.
With more on Marquez, let's go to Haley.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So Poway High School, we talked about that. North County, San Diego. I went to Rancho Bernardo, a rival school. I told Marquez I will not hold that against him.
One of the better shot blockers in the league. Sheridan recovered the loose ball. Shot clock did not reset. 6 seconds. Ball at the point. Ball skips it low. And it kicks up into this netting and will give Vancouver a fresh 30. Coincides perfectly with the remainder of the power play. Now Dixon. Very quiet in the barn. He played a lot in for a couple of seasons. Zips it on his old teammate and steered into the corner. Has a chance to take the league's lead in goals this afternoon. Shutout so far. Back behind that to Charlotte Beatties. Gets it right back along to Jesse King. Now Ball up high that time. Origlieri.
Maybe would have liked to see that one kind of settle it back out, kind of reset yourself with just 3 minutes left in this half.
Ball floating around. After the 30-goal seasons to his credit, back to Ball with some space. Brandon Dixon to let his stick go, and the bouncer on Origlieri, another stop.
Trying to get away because he had a little sliver opening to the goal.
Berg whips it back to the far side. Shot Soaked up by Del Bianco.
Now, showing me what I know, they actually are going to pull the goalie so they get a 6-on-3.
And the shot does not get through. That guy is a faucet of honesty. San Diego starts the second half with a 5-on-3 for just over 30 seconds. They have not converted any of their first 4 power plays, as Vancouver's excellent penalty kill has really taken care of them. Now, Del Bianco's also made some big stops.
Now, I talked about it before the half. Normally when you're on a 5-on-3, you're actually just going to play 4 up top. But instead of moving that one defender on top of the logo, they've actually just taken Trey Leclerc and put him back behind the net to try to get Del Bianco to have to move even more.
And Del Bianco makes the save anyway, as that'll kill off the 5-on-3. It'll be a conventional power play for San Diego for 1 minute and 16 seconds. Charlem Beatty's running away from Logan, trying to kill some time. Vancouver, among the best in the league at creating shorthanded opportunities, a lot of that being because of their raw individual talent. Curtis Dixon shows you why.
It just feels like you're always coming back up, and I can almost guarantee you it's almost in the back of their heads of that bad second half against Colorado, and they're wanting to make sure it doesn't happen. It's kind of almost like they have their hands free and a decent look. They're okay just throwing that ball on net.
Watson gets one through, and Del Bianco has to make a kick save.
They've been a good job of it. Every time that Vancouver scored, I feel like they've answered almost immediately.
Ball with space, and he rips it top corner. You can't give him that much time and room. 28th this season for Ball, who's on pace to have a career high in assists. Now here comes Vancouver off the faceoff. Riglieri gets up high, makes the save. That was Ticehurst flying in on net. The Seals retain their 1-goal lead, and Vancouver, who had their first chance to tie the game, not able to do so. They've trailed since the start. Courier!
That's one of those you must get so excited that you're going to get a really good opportunity. You forget the most important part is the ball.
Charlem Beatty's hums it home. We got a 1-goal game again in San Diego. Goes after his former teammate, Callies. Help defense from Charbonneau to the middle. DeChico ran out of space, and Del Bianco rejected it.
On Subak, so he flies into the crease, so it's a little in and out.
Bird. Quick stick on Kavanaugh. Del Bianco made the save. As the shot clock runs out, and with 1/10 of a second left. The clock runs out. We're heading to the final 15, and we got a good one. More than a dozen goals apiece. Since then, Chris O'Riglieri and the defensive unit have been vastly better, as we've come to expect from these teams in San Diego.
A guy that hasn't shown it this year in the goal-scoring capabilities, but you know last year had 10-plus goals, so you got to make sure you're keeping aware of him.
Big save by O'Riglieri on the twister. Wide right. Here come the Warriors running. Charbonneau has one in transition. Charbonneau ties the game. Charbonneau whistling it ahead again. Dixon turns around. Dixon underneath. Dixon for the lead. Kind of a tepid lead for most of the game for the Seals, in Vancouver with 5 out of 7 goals since halftime has seized control, even with just a 1-goal lead. Now make it 2 with Charlem Beatty's second.
And I do think a lot of that does come with having to play a game on Friday, but also at the same time, you're a pro. You got to make sure that.
Jesse King breaks through as DeChico fell down, and the 5-0 run. McIntosh, he and Leclerc both been shut out today. Beat the Seals 8-7 on opening night in the first game back from the COVID missed season. Now Leclerc in danger of his first shutout of the year. Armitage! Beers soaks it up, and final seconds ticking away. Vancouver comes on the road, comes from behind with a 5-0 run in the second half. They ride their goaltender's 44 saves to a 9-7 win, and